So there's code on screen. Pause if you want to look at it as I scroll down, before I scroll down, because nothing really to say on the intro, but I figure I should go over things because oftentimes small pieces of information get forgotten. I even forget too, because I actually forgot to format my text like on text 1 here is the first screen of the mystery. The others should be self-explanatory, but so oftentimes I do, well, I swear I used to put something like, by author here and then do more line breaks. You could do that. You don't have to do that, but I choose to do that, so I think I didn't for Valentine's, which is a funny thing. But as we kind of move on to the meat of what you're going to see, again, no art for the moment, that's why this image is blank and should work, but all the all caps phrases here are pretty much what you want to put in. For example, when the event loads in your face, this is the text that shows up, and then you do the options and so on and so forth. Again, pause if you want to look at anything in particular. There's just this A part, and obviously use option B, test B, success B with different things. I did omit some things here, like there should be like an A required here, but if you don't use it, if it's left blank, then it's just left blank and you don't need any requirements, which is a lot what you see in a lot of World of Horror events. But if there's anything I forgot to mention, I'll mention it later on, but let's just get into the run. So I will be playing with custom content. I've been trying to tweak things here and there. We'll still hit quick play to randomize the backstory at least, but we're going to be playing on No Shackle because I need to release that. But again, I was making tweaks. So as we also get a Miku run on top of it, that was supposed to be completely random. You know what? No, let's just do another Moriko run. So we'll do a Harbinger of Doom Ill-Fated Moriko run, and we'll introduce things for timestamp's sake. So as we get into No Shackle Ill-Fated Moriko, which this is a PERM god, by the way, yeah, let's see how this works out for me. I could think on a lot of things. I do think a lot of things are theoretical in gaming at least, but as we see, dexterity, charisma, knowledge, second mystery, light, and maybe strength check. The only other thing to mention is, I'll mention it when we get to the event stuff. I did make some change, or I did change things, and they're not going to be how they are. I forgot to use this earlier. They're not going to be how they are in... The mystery is not going to be as it is right now, order-wise, as it will be when I complete it. I do want to name it what it is right now, so, I mean, yeah, we'll do that right now. I should actually level up, though. Deft handling immediately, strength, off we go. That's just my go-to. You could just run perception and try to fit in a bunch of attacks, especially when you get deft handling, but as we see Akamanto, template, ramen, bulletin, taxi. So we'll do, well, I'm just forcing myself to do template now, because as I let this text kind of just exist on screen for the moment, again, I didn't make art yet, so this is just going to have to be template bunny for the moment, but event-wise, this first event here is going to is actually supposed to happen near the middle of the mystery, because oftentimes, again, as I mentioned in the last episode, you don't normally, or I feel normally an event should not be an event-linked a mystery-linked event isn't normally going to be at the very beginning unless you're going to do something very specific. Also, pain. So this variable here is changed from the previous event, where if I succeed to go through the dumpsters, this says something else. Since I failed, it says you tried. And if I don't choose any at all, well, again, you're just going to be seeing that event over and over as I, maybe work on the art, maybe work on the bonus I'm going to give you. We have technical difficulties, but yeah, I'm going to be working on things slowly. So let's get rid of both of these, by the way, because that would not be great. I got Hasty Aid and a Discharge Summary, so that makes me a little sad. But as we look for the police station, High Forest, Max Hospital, Max Seaside, and I have Bulletin, so you know what? Actually, I was going to say, yeah, no, I will do Forest. Who am I kidding? So, yeah, not really much else to say at the moment. But yes, I will add a certain... So what I was mentioning earlier is the very first mystery-linked event is, I feel, should normally introduce something to the mystery, aside from just, at worst, losing 2 to 3 stamina or reason or 4+ doom. But, I mean, again, you don't have to listen to me if you know what you want to do. And just go for it anyway. I'm just saying that usually you want to introduce the custom-linked mystery, or the mystery-linked event, later on in the mystery, so you give the player a bit of room to breathe. At least that's what I feel. If you want me to explain why I believe what I do, again, you don't have to do things this way. Do whatever's fun for you. Do whatever's immersion. That might sound like a load of hoopla just to make it sound like I'm not trying to be as harsh, but I mean, that's just what I feel. So On top of what I said earlier, again, please do what is fun for you, because if it's not fun for you, what is the point of making content for any video game? But as we sit here, did I just take another technical difficulty? I thought I took another injury for a moment, but yeah. And maybe Daddy's Girl? I would like quick thinking, actually. Just because it's quick think, like it's... so I guess base World of Horror advice we can talk about for the day is quick thinking versus, well, certain character-specific perks. Overall, though, Daddy's Girl depends on how early you take it. Obviously, at the end of every mystery, if you have 4 mysteries left, you heal 8 stamina. On the other side of that is quick thinking, where you can get out of possibly just losing 2 to 3 stamina or reason. I need to remember all the events that this is true for, but there are basically every time there's an event with quick thinking, usually you can save like 2 or 3 stamina, so that's why we're taking Daddy's Girl here. Although I would personally take quick thinking, because either way you're gambling on RNG. The RNG that is what event are you going to run into. If you take quick thinking and you never get a quick thinking event, then it's like, well, I took it and I don't use the dexterity. If you don't take quick thinking, you get a quick thinking event, and then you Daddy's Girl into like a run where you're not losing a lot of stamina, then you're just like, well, I'm not losing as much stamina. Therefore, I mean, in Out of Funds, when I lose 3 stamina there, I'm like, oh, I have Daddy's Girl. I have an extra 8 stamina to work with. Is this our first encounter, by the way? I think it is. Do I want to lose 3 stamina here? I do have painkillers. We also have technical difficulties, so... us getting hit, I would rather get hit by a bunch of stamina here at the moment rather than lose a bit more reason while losing some less stamina. Because, yeah, if technical difficulty starts proccing reason loss, which is what this old god does, like this, then it will quickly result in a lot of reason loss, which means we're going to enter this quickly and get rid of these 2. Dislocated shoulder, your other small World of Horror tip for the day is that normally you don't need to get rid of any injuries that lower your max stamina or max reason. You can live with about 2 to 4 max stamina, max reason, or max reason loss. I feel anyway. If you don't feel that way, or if runs go badly for you because you're missing like 5 max stamina, 5 max reason, so be it, because I also believe kind of the same, but I'm just less inclined to take care of an injury specifically that way. By the way, this will end up killing me, so we actually need to brace. This is guaranteed, right? It is. If it is, I think we get out next turn if we do Desperate double attack, because we should be able to guarantee both of them, and each of these does 8 damage. Now, I am missing some stamina, so let's actually hit... we should have actually used that earlier, after I queued the launch sequence, but we have a lot of Doom to work with. Again, this is a more base advice that I've gone over before, so it's not actually anything fresh or anything, but that's right, we're on Nakamoto, so we actually need to rest here. But Moriko, or anyone starting with a weapon, saves quite a bit of resources, if nothing else, but normally Doom. Technical difficulties. But it saves quite a lot of Doom. We're ending our second mystery, which is also Akamanto, so we actually get more Doom out of here. Yeah, that's all I have to say at the moment. I do have the handcuffs, by the way, so let's make use of those. Hear my mouse clicky-clacking, but for good reason. I would fire here, but I'm not good enough with my hand-eye coordination to fire into a handcuff play, so we're just going to do this instead. The easier version, which again, if for whatever reason your clicky-clacks are not on point, then I mean you will miss it, but if you're moderately, there's no reason not to do it, right? Although, technically speaking, it is a bug. So, not Colt, I'm going crazy. Taxi next, right? Because then they're Bulletin, Ramen. So we take Bulletin 4th and Ramen 5th. And hope that we don't get, wow, I'm losing my words at the moment. Hoping that things don't happen to my face. Also, we're on Ill-Fated, I forgot that. But, we have effectively 29% Doom. I can kind of just flounder around for a moment. So, as we move on, we can talk more about custom mysteries, because that's kind of the focus for the day. Did I work on Valentine's during the series as well? I don't even remember, but one Doom 5 experience is pretty cool. But if I did, then so be it. If I didn't, then that's perfectly fine too. I should have actually taken stamina there, but... So we did Out of Funds just to get rid of these 2. That might not be so bad, but that's RNG at the moment, so... Yeah, 3 hasty 8 stacks that can all explode into 3 different injuries. I'm pretty sure more than 1 hasty 8 can proc at the same turn, because I think they all proc separately. That is something to think about. Something that can proc separately as shown with hasty 8 even if it's a Doom encounter here, is something that you can also employ with custom status effects in PERM. Let me just reiterate that. You cannot do this with base World of War custom content. Not saying that you can't do a lot with base World of War custom content, because really that only matters to anyone like me who's got like a few hundred hours in World of War. So for anyone who is, you know, playing World of War for the first time and only for like, you know, a couple of runs, you have more than enough without PERM, in my opinion. By the way, as I just mentioned, every single hasty aid just exploded. I wonder if they're all tied to the same proc, where that just looks for whether or not hasty aid explodes. I say explodes, but hasty aid turns into another injury. But the problem we're having at the moment is that, yeah, not having them explode like that was not good for our everything, really. So, goodness. We can prep attack. I don't know why I haven't been doing that, but we did want to... did we want to brace? I'm going crazy. Well, anyway, we equipped the map, so that's why I saved the Crestfallen Mask. In the back of my mind, knowing that we have Taxi means that we want to keep the map equipped while we're investigating pretty much the rest of the run, and only equip the Crestfallen Mask in one of two main situations. First off is obviously when you're going to die, but secondly at the end, so you have more Doom to work with. But, you know, things can change. Also, we're going to tree for fun, so we're going to take a curse to get rid of 2 injuries. Unfortunately, we get branded for our trouble, but thankfully with the Doom we have effectively through Akamanto, it might not be so bad. Do I need to get rid of this? Fractured rib, yeah, 1 dexterity, yeah, not so bad. We don't want to get rid of the dislocated shoulder. With technical difficulties proccing, that can be very, very painful. I'm sure, I feel like each one, yeah, I think I said that each one can proc separately technical difficulties on this custom Old God, so I'm shrugging. That's all I have to say at the moment. Ow, branded. But we'll trade off some Doom for reason, and we use these cigarettes pretty much now. I feel like we can fight this. Yeah, we should be able to fight this. So I guess one last definite piece of, not advice, but something to discuss while going through World of Horror, especially if you plan to do something. Hey, deft handling. But the use of bullets if you have a good firearm weapon. That's really not a niche statement, but usually for characters with firearms. Also, we are ill-fated, so I just realized that we are in a lot of pain. But we crash the car and just take our damage there. That's less damage than normally fighting through the taxis or even the people in the forest to an extent. But yeah, talking about firearm characters is that normally they start with a firearm or have very, 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 very... In fact, I think like almost all of them, but maybe one custom character out there starts with some kind of firearm. That being said, you also have to be using a good firearm weapon. So, let's just say police revolver is not the greatest, unless you already come with the perk, or you're quickly going to get a perk. Unfortunately here, we lose all of our dexterity because we get coughing blood. So I should have gotten rid of the fractured ribs as well, but shrug. Now the funny part here is, before the end of this video, is that Smoke Break was an event that I was actively looking for, like for several runs at minimum, and I could never find it because I once had a series called Event of the Day where I reviewed an event and kind of went through the choices just to give you information, and now I'm getting Smoke Break more times than I can count here and there, and I don't know why. So yeah, without further ado, RNG is as it is. If I had gotten rid of this, yeah, we would have been fine, but technical difficulties was also painful because our reason did drop to like 3 or below, I think once or twice. So, yeah, Doom-wise, pretty cool, unless this happens to my face. And, oh no, my 90% went to 100%. Again, as long as the stat is 0, it'll change it. Now, the one last thing, I said one last thing earlier, but one last thing to also note is that, yeah, when the Doom changes, I wonder if it does a check, or if the game is always actively looking for a stat at 0. Anywho, just dev mind going crazy. You don't need to mind me. I'll just see you in the next episode, because no shade. I think this is actually the first time I've shown you the No Shackle Doom mount, because yeah, Doom. Just to note though, and if I haven't, I might as well go through it. This is basically just a bunch of I'll show you it again. A bunch of in-game art just modified by me to look like what I want from No Shackle. That being said, I think I've shown you it before, but just to show it again, because I forgot that clicking goes through. yeah, it's just a bunch of in-game art with obviously No Shackle's face that I drew in at the end. Which, to note, I did not, I didn't feel like I did the best job drawing No Shackle all these times, but for some reason, that's just the best of what I got. If I could show you my drafts, it looked a lot worse. In fact, you saw what one of them looked like long ago when No Shackle's face on the intro screen, on the summon screen, looked a bit less it had less fidelity, basically. But yeah, without further ado, I'll leave you on this screen, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!